Very good afternoon, dear students. Here, in this particular fourth chapter, poverty, so we understood poor, how we can identify poor, what is poverty line, how we define poverty line, and what are the categories. Those things we understood. After that, the previous class, we tried to find out the causes for poverty. So, if you try to understand this, what are the causes which leads to this poverty? So, we started from the colonial rule, where if you see, there were very high taxes there, and we'll make a list here. So, if at that colonial rule, if you try to understand, there were huge taxes, very high taxes, which the Indians they have to pay towards colonial rule under that, and here they produce goods at lower rate for Britishers. So what they have done here, they use Indian resource price and started exporting those things to Britain countries. And as we know, we are very large people dependent on agriculture. Whatever the food grains, pulses, whatever we produce here, they used to export those goods to Britishers. Again, those countries, Britishers countries. So they are exporting whatever we produce here, food items, and whatever we produce, they actually ask us to produce at lower rate, and they used to export that to British. And whatever the goods or services what we are using, we need to pay high rate of taxes here to use those items. So ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದರೂ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಕಡಿಮೆ ರೇಟ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಇವೊಂದು ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಫ್ ಹೈ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಟಿ, ನಮಗೆ ಲೋವರ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ತಮ್ಮ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವನ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾವು ಏನೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅದು ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ನಮಗೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಇವತ್ತು ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಲೋವರ್ ರೇಟ್ಗೆ ತಗೋತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಲೋವರ್ ರೇಟ್ಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಲೋವರ್ ರೇಟ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಹಾಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಸೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಫುಡ್ ಗ್ರೇನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ವಿ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ we should use for ourselves ಅಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಪೀಪಲ್ಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಕಂಟ್ರೀಸ್ಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಸೊ ವಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಡಿಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆನ್ US and other countries for food items and oil Gulf countries we dependent on them for oil, petroleum products and food items and all we dependent on US because whatever we produce we used to export to their countries and as we know whatever natural resources we had here the natural resources plundered. It means that they treated us as a raw material suppliers and all the natural resources here they took from us and they started exporting to the British countries. So that's why ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂತು ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು and then overall if you see when we have done all these things if you want anything then on that we need to pay high taxes so ಹಿಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಮಗೆ ಏನು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿತ್ತು ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಫೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅಸ್ ಸೊ ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಕೊಲೋನಿಯಲ್ ರೂಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂಡ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಸಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಇವನ್ whatever the lands we had adana landlords ge kottidru landlords ge and these landlords asked the farmers to do the cultivation in the land and pay the food produce and also the rent and whatever food items produced that and as well as rent they need to give it to the landlords our landlords ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು they used to pay the fixed amount and food items whatever produced to Britishers so ಆ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೈನ್ ಇತ್ತು so ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ for to become person who can live life easily and ಏನು ಬೇಕು we need an income so if you make a list here these things we understand we'll try to understand in another angle ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಯ್ತು ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೆಟಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ here landlords here colonial group okay and here we have farmers the farmers has to pay rent and all the lands are in their name landlords and landlord has to pay the fixed amount to these colonial people Britishers ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಗಾಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ this government what they have done land reforms okay so ನಮ್ಮಿವಾಗ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಲಾರ್ಡ್ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇತ್ತು ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವ್ರಿಗೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಪೂರ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಟ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಗಾಟ್ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಯ್ತು there is a network issue here let me try that again I think it is connected we will see that we'll check here I think it is connected we will see that we'll check here Okay. So under this land reforms, they have done government done. Okay, whoever has a very large number of lands, if they have a huge land near them, we have land ceiling now. Under this, you need to have only certain amount of land. ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Land distribution started under land reforms. Whoever cultivating now, they are the who are the tillers. Tillers became the owners now. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ಯಾರು ಕಲ್ಟಿವೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರೋ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಓನರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಡಿಕ್ಲೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಪಟ್ಟೆ ಭೂಮಿ ಇತ್ತು, ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನ ಓಕೆ ಇಫ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ 100 acres, you can keep only 15 acres. The example, okay, 15 acres you can keep. That is the ceiling we have. Other, this is the example. So rest of the things it went back to government. Our government ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಮಿಕ್ಕಿದ ಭೂಮಿನ they wanted to redistribute to the people who doesn't have. If suppose a farmer he doesn't have any land, then okay we will allot that land to that person. ಆ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿ land distribution. So this land distribution to people who are in need of that, who don't have any lands, to them we will distribute the land. That was government plan. They succeeded in this program, but not to a great extent. And the Kelvin states so, they didn't adopt this plan properly. And the land distribution only, they failed in distributing the lands to needy people. Many states they didn't do this. They didn't follow this program. So hangagi ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ even though government implemented this, but ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ land ಸಿಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆಮೇಲೆ when you see this land ceiling, if you have to own only certain amount of land ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ಅವ್ರು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, as we know, they went to court ಅಲ್ಲಿ stay ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದು okay, government has this plan, we want you guys to look into this. The reason for that is they can get some time and they can postpone the implementation of this land ceiling act. When they postpone this, ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದು they can split that amongst the family members. Our family members friends ಯಾರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ನ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪ್ಲಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ even when we split the land, that comes under land ceiling number. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ they can escape from this act ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ನಾವು ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ಪೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ even though there is a land ceiling, land reform act for that, but it didn't get, the farmers didn't get benefited from this. ಇದರಿಂದ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಲೂಪ್ ಹೋಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸೊ ನಾವು ವಿನೋ ಮುಂಚೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರು, ಅವಾಗ farmers were facing so many issues. Now there is a change due to this land reforms and land ceiling. Now farmers, they have small amount of land. So when the farmers have small amount of land, they need income for that and skills. So as many of them are dependent on agriculture for their income, they have to work in the available land. So that is a small piece of land, that too they have a small piece of land. They have to get their income for their day-to-day life needs, not only for them, for entire family. ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿನೂ ಆ ಪೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಅವ್ರ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ತಗೋಬೇಕಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಆ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ even the lands were not fertile. Fertile lands ಇದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ, ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಭೂಮಿ ಅಂತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗುಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕಲ್ಟಿವೇಶನ್ ಆ ತರ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಇವನ್ ದೋ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಫರ್ಟೈಲ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಫರ್ಟೈಲ್, ಟು ಗ್ರೋ ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್, ದೇ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್. Irrigation gardening, fertilizers gardening, or pesticides, for all those required things they need to invest. For that they don't have any income and not even skills. They were following the previous traditional methods. Hangagi ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೊಸ ಅಪ್ಗ್ರೇಡೆಡ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ skills ಇಲ್ಲ. Just they have a piece of land that no, it's not fertile. So ಹಂಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಅದರಿಂದ ಇನ್ಕಮ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? So when we say that okay, under this Land Reforms Act, land stealing and all, the land distributed amongst the required people, needy people, the farmers ಗೆಲ್ಲ land distribute ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. This is the situation. Even though we distributed the land, it's of low quality land, and that to improve that they need investment which they don't have, and the income ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ? So this is how they started facing the problem. This we can say this is one of the causes. I hope we understand here. We can make one by one. The first cause we can say, whatever under colonial rule, whatever discussed, that is a basic root for these causes. Okay, that we consider it as one. And second one is, this is colonial rule. Under them, whatever happened, that is the root cause for this poverty. And when we got independent, if you see, second thing we can say that okay, even though land distributed, we face so many issues under colonial rule, but the land now distributed, but it's not of good quality. To improve that, we don't have much of income also. Hangagi it didn't fetch them any good. Hangagi again they started struggling. One more thing is, so when they don't have investment, what they will do? They will take a loan. Okay, they'll go for a loan. Loan ತಗೊಂಡು ಅಲ್ಲೇನೋ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಬೆಳೆಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, if crop failure ಆಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ, if they didn't get a proper crop, fail due to so many reasons. So what might be the reason? Drought by andre rain to grow the crop, because most of the farmers they dependent on rain. So this is also one of the reasons that they face so many difficulties. ಏನಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ಮಳೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರು. ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಬೆಳೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಇಯರ್ whatever they did hard work, it's of no use if they don't get a proper rain. Sometimes due to this drought situation, they face so many issues. And one more thing, you can say natural calamities. Now there was no rain, but if it is raining heavily, we can see in the present situation, it's raining heavily everywhere. All the rivers level, the dam level is very high and they are overflowing. So if this is the case, in this situation also we can't get the proper crop. Hangagi enagutte, there will be a less production, and whatever they invested using these loans and all, you can understand the farmer situation here. Loan ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತಾರೆ for seeds, fertilizers, pesticides and all. If they didn't get a crop due to drought or over rain or natural calamities, so what happened? They will not get an investment back. ಅದು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದು ದುಡ್ಡು ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೇನು ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ದ ಡೆಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, the debt will increase, and you can see they are unable to clear those debts. Or in loan ತಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. Then that is the reason you can see so many farmers. You heard of this, I guess. So there is so many suicidal attempts. They will suicide because they are not in a position to clear their debts. They can't lead their life peacefully. So these are the main issues what farmers are facing. So this leads to poverty. In Lodre, everywhere they are suffering only. They don't have a good quality land to improve that. If they go for a loan, then again it takes so many years to repay that loan. If they are getting good crop, suppose if they don't get a good crop due to drought or natural calamities or heavy rains, then whatever they invested, that is also their loss, and there is no income also. Then their life will become miserable. They will go for a suicidal attempt. So this is a situation we are facing in our country. So this is one more cause for this poverty. Now, if you understand the third one, if we try to understand, when most of the people they don't have money to invest and less skill and the debt, loans and all, it is a burden, and that leads to poverty. And under colonial rule, we saw all those things that again led to this poverty. And if you see, as many of them are dependent on agriculture and they have very small piece of land, from that they can't get their regular incomes. So then what is next? What they have to do? This will lead to increase in the urban population. So the rural poor, these people, due to these many issues, no proper land, no good crops they are getting, loan burden is there. Due to so many reasons, they will go to urban places in search of job. So there, the urban poor population will increase. Okay, the urban poor, if you see, this is the migrated people from the rural places. We in this COVID pandemic, we saw this issue, right? So many migrated urban rural poor people, they went to urban places finding a job. In this pandemic, we saw when a whole world shut down, so we faced this issue. This was a major issue. We went through this urban population who are poor. So they came to urban places in search of job to get their daily bread and butter. So when, due to these kind of issues, they lose their job, then there is no income also. So then it will be very difficult for them to live the life. Now suppose, okay, before this COVID situation, if we consider that they went to urban places, there the requirement is skill, okay, education. If they are skilled, educated, then they will get a good job. Otherwise, they will not. They will be strugglers only there. So we can see casual employment they will get. In urban places also, it is a casual employment. Casual employment means it is not a permanent job for them. They are again under this job. They have that fear of job security. They don't have that job security. They are always in fear of that. So due to this casual employment, they daily go to their job, they'll get their wages and they'll come back. So that's how it is. Because if you see why that is the situation, you can understand they are not much skilled to get a good permanent job. Why they are not skilled? Because they are not educated. The education system is not that good because in rural places they didn't go to schools, they didn't get proper education, no proper health, and all the problems they were facing. We discussed that. So, hangagi our education yavaga complete education illa when they are not educated, skill development agidalla. So, hangagi if they are not skilled, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಜಾಬ್ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. They will get daily wage jobs that we call it as casual employment. Suppose in case anything goes wrong, they will suffer a lot. Casual employment. And then our daily ಹೋದ್ರೆ wages ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ, they can run their life. Otherwise, the life stops there for them. So hangagi this is also a problem. We can say lack of education, which leads to unskilled labors, and that is the reason there will be a casual employment, and if this will not help them to improve their income level. So hangagi illino en agtare they will be come under the poor category. So hangagi education also we can say one of the cause. Okay, so we can say underdevelopment, under colonial rule, and agricultural burden, indebtedness ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ loan burden ಇರ್ತಲ್ಲ that one, and lack of resources. Lack of good education and health, so we have discussed these things. Under colonial rule, they are underdeveloped. There were no developmental activities in all the sectors, so they suffered a lot due to high taxes, and they asked us to produce the goods at lower price, and they exported, and we used to import at higher price. So like that, they treated us very badly. Even they use natural resources and the land under land settlement and all. The farmers used to pay them rents, even though they have crop, they can't use that. They used to give them back with the rent. So that's how all were all the sectors were not developed under colonial rule. So that led to poverty. And second, after independence, if you see, government came up with so many reformal programs, but most of the states they failed to implement those things. And even though they succeeded, the government succeeded in that, but not to great extent. When they suppose if a farmer has a land, if you think that he has a land but it is not of a good quality land, to improve that he has to go for a loan. If he wants to adopt a new technology, he has to invest on that, even though they are getting so many schemes, but it is not sufficient for them. If any crop loss, again they will be in indebtedness, they have to pay the loan back, and it is a big burden on them. That's why there will be suicidal attempts also. Many people they suicided, and the numbers which shows that the agriculture farmer suicide number, it was very bad. The numbers are very huge numbers we have, so that is not a good sign. When the person who is feeding us, who is giving us food, he is not in a position to feed his family. So that is the worst situation we have here. That is not actually a good sign. So if he is happy, then we all can become a happy people and a happy country, happy family. Like that. If he is suffering, then this is not actually a good sign. But still that is happening here. And after that, if you see, okay, agricultural sector is not doing good, we can't earn more in that, the income is not there, thinking that if they move to urban places, they, when they dependent on agriculture, they don't have a proper skills and they don't have a good education also. With that, if they go to urban places, they, due to this lack of skill sets and lack of education, they will not get a good jobs there. That too, if they get the job, that too casual employment, they'll get a daily wages. If that work stops, then there is no income for them. Again, they need to suffer. This is also another cause for this poverty. You can see increase in the population. It is also one of the reasons for this poverty. If you see, most of the people they are not educated. They depend on the land that we know. In the total population, most of the people they dependent on agricultural land. Suppose there is a family of three. Okay, parent and their son. He, now they have think that they have 2 acres of land. Now he got married and he has two kids now. From the parent, this land will go to this person. There's 2 acres. When the population increases, now he has two kids. If they divide it, then each one will get 1 acre. Even they get married, they have kids here. If they also have three kids and all, now they have 3 kids here. This family they have two, and this family they have two. But if you see the land, it is fixed there. Only 2 acres of land this family have. But when population grows, this will become insufficient for this family. Now, that is the reason when there is a very less land, you can understand the income also is very less. It will also lead to a poverty. So what they will do with no income, they will not get a proper education, proper health. There will be a illness in the family, and no proper education with that less skill set and education. If even they go to urban places, they will get a casual employment, daily wage. With that also, they will remain as a poor itself. That's why increase in the population is also one of the cause of this poverty. So unemployment is also one of the reasons. If you ask how, we see under LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, the big firms they started investing. Okay, so they should create more employment, right? It is true they are creating employment, but suppose if we have a bundy here, okay, he will lead his life by selling the vegetables. Okay, we have a small petty shop here. We have grocery shop. All those things. They are small. Then get their daily income by doing this job. Due to this globalization, the same place now you will see a big mall. In that you have everyone. Shopping center. In that vegetables will get, groceries will get, clothes will get, all jewelry, cosmetic, everything will get. So when due to this globalization, it has impact on these small people. Most of the people will go to mall, even they can reduce the price also. With their huge network, they can procure more at lesser price. When the price will be less for them, they can reduce the price also. So these small people, they can't compete with them in terms of quality, quantity, price. So when they can't compete, they will suffer here. So they have to shut down their business, small people. So then there will be an unemployment problem. Correct? So here this globalization indirectly it is leading to this poverty in another angle. Okay? So with this example you see due to this small people whoever what this globalization will do, it will make the richer even more richer, the poor people even poorer. So this is an instance. The small business owners, small vendors, they will suffer due to this globalization and they will be jobless. So, okay, now they are jobless, but under liberalization, privatization, there is a increase in the industrialization also, correct? So there are now more industries in urban areas, but those that industrialization failed to absorb these rural poor. you can see the industrialization failed to urban poor. So who are the urban poor? From rural places who don't have much land, okay, they will move to urban places. You can see most of the people even they will move to Bangalore or Mumbai in search of job. So they are the urban poor who are migrated. So when they will go there for a job, industrialization, due to that, they should observe this population, but they failed in observing those rural poor population who came to urban places. Hangagi, there is a unemployment situation. So this is also, it led to the poverty. Unemployment again, it is the result of this population increase. Increase in the population led to unemployment because even government or industrialization, it didn't help, it didn't come up with a proper plan to acquire these unemployed people. There is a proper program to get these people employed. Even this industrialization also failed in doing that. So that is a reason we will see, even though they are getting jobs, that is not permanent. That is a casual employment, we can say. The casual employment is under this unemployment. So if you see, when the agricultural land is insufficient, they will move to urban places, and there also there is a increase in the migrants due to the increase in the population, lesser available land. Again, the urban poor population increases. That leads to unemployment because of so many reasons, or underemployment, or casual or intermittent nature of work. Casual work means they are no job security. They don't have any job security there. They will daily go for a job and they will get daily wages. If there is no job, then they will not get money. So that's what we call it as intermittent nature of work, casual job. Most of the migrants from rural to urban area, they are comes under this. So when this is the situation, it leads to again lack of resources, lack of employment. They don't have a proper income. So this also leads to poverty and indebtedness. Indebtedness means if they have any loan to fulfill their needs, then they will not be in a position to fulfill their clear those debts. Then they will fall under this indebtedness, and this is again a big burden on them, which even though after hard try they can't come out from this. So hangagi you can see more of the suicidal attempts. So these are the reasons, we can say, causes which leads to poverty. And we can say the unequal distribution of wealth and assets. The unequal distribution of wealth and assets also one of the cause is poverty. See, under land reforms, you see, when they started distributing land, all the poor people, they didn't get the equal distribution. Even the government failed in that. So that is why they face this unequal distribution of wealth and assets. That again led to poverty. Actually, they are the people who are in need of wealth or assets. By distributing, there was a discrimination, and they didn't find the proper assets to lead their life. Hangagi, they face all these things: indebtedness, unemployment, which leads to poverty. So what we can do here to understand what are the reasons of poverty, we can do an uh, survey here. We can go to any nearby vendor, a small cart, or the person who is selling the cart, or a barber, whoever. So we can just check with them how they are leading the life, what are their income sources, what are the problems they are facing, how they are managing their financial needs and all, what about education, health, employment, why they are doing that particular business. All those things we will find the reason, and we can understand the causes of poverty also. So that is the assignment we can do to understand this better. So here these are the reasons and causes for poverty. I'll stop here, and in the next class we are going to understand the policies and programs towards improvement of this poverty. What are the policies we have? What are the programs we have to overcome this poverty? That we will discuss in the next class. I'll stop here. Thank you.